So how are you today?
Yeah, very fine.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow we are leaving.
Okay.
Yeah, morning.
You want to know anything?
Probably need Ajahn to translate again just now what Ajahn about.
I don't know if I can remember what I said. Well, basically I said that the world today is in a state of progress in terms of material things. And there are so many different products being created all the time, and it can help people to do things faster, like transportation, getting people to go from one point to another point quicker, easier. But this advances doesn't have much of impact on the mind. In fact, it could be harmful to the mind, because the easier for you to be able to do things, to get things, then it will be easier for your defilements to appear. Because all you do is you're doing with your defilements. So it will want you to be more good, want you to have more and more stuff, do and more things. And the more defilements you have, the hotter your mind become. Not cool. The mind become hot, become restless, agitated, and can easily get angry. Like nowadays they have road rage. People drive and they get angry at another car because both of them want to go as fast as they can. And if one of them should somehow interfere with the other from going to where they want to go as fast as possible, then there could be conflict, could be anger, and could be end up in a fight. So we Buddhists have to be careful with the advancement of material things, because we still need them to a certain extent. We need them to keep the body alive. We need the four basic requisites of life. We need food, shelter, clothing, and medicine. So we still have to rely on material things, but we have to know the boundary, the limit of how much we need, and should not be deluded by the fact that there are so many material or things or products that are created that we might not really need them. So we have to have a basic knowledge of what we need from the material world. We need just the four requisites, and they don't have to be expensive. Cheap stuff, cheap food and expensive food does the same job. It makes your stomach full. So why spend, say, $10, $100 when you can spend $10 for the same meal, for the same job? Let's put it that way. You spend $10 on food and you fill your stomach. You spend $100 on food, you fill your stomach the same way. So this is what Buddhism teaches us to use, to be happy with little, not to be happy with much. Try to get as little as possible. Try to rely on material things as little as possible. Just enough to get by, just enough to keep the body alive. Like the Buddha, he feed the body by going on arms round, and whatever he gets from on the arms round, he just eats. He's just happy with what he gets. He doesn't have to go tell people, I want this kind of food, I want this kind of drinks. Just whatever people give, and be content with whatever you are given. This will then can stave off your delusion. If you don't have this basic knowledge, then you will see everything that is being produced to be attractive, to be good for you, without knowing what that good means. Because if you are hooked on buying things and without any real need for it, you buy it because you like it, because you want it. This can be an addiction. They're called shopaholic. Once you start shopping, you cannot stop shopping. And so this will put pressure on your income. You have to work harder to make more money, and this can also make you restless and agitated, and nervous and insecure, and it might force you to do something bad, something wrong, in order to make money. So you have to be careful when you work to feed yourself, that you should always have this basic understanding that you're just working to feed yourself. So if you have enough food, then you should be happy. Don't be deluded by all the other products that is being introduced to the market. If you don't need them, don't buy them. Then there will be no pressure to spend money. Then there will be no pressure to work for money. And when you have spare money, you should also know how to spend them. First, you should save them for future, because you don't know what will happen in the future. You might run out of money. You might not be able to have any income. Then you can have this money to support you. And if you still have more money to spend, the Buddha said the best way to spend that will be advantageous, that will be beneficial to the mind, is to spend it on dana, spend on charity. Because spending on charity will make your mind happy, make your mind content, make your mind cool. But if you spend money on your defilements, like going on holidays or buying expensive items, expensive watches, expensive anything, it will create more defilements. You will want to have more and more. You want to buy more and more. This will then, instead of being beneficial to the mind, it hurts the mind, because it's like taking drugs. You become addicted, and you have to keep having more and more of it. And when you cannot have it, then you become not happy. You feel terrible. So this is what we Buddhists should know, how to deal with all the material things that are being produced in this world. Just use them to maintain the body. Have the basic for requisite of living: food, shelter, clothing, and medicine. And they don't have to be expensive, because no matter how expensive they are, they can do the same job, and they cannot prevent the the aging, sickness, and death of the body. So it's futile to spend money on something that you cannot prevent. You cannot prevent yourself from getting old, getting sick and die. No matter how much money you spend on it, eventually you're gonna get old, get sick and die. So you shouldn't spend your effort on this to put on protecting the body. You should spend your effort protecting the mind. And the way to protect the mind, the Buddha said, is to give dana, keep the precepts, and develop mind called bhavana, mental development, bhavana, dana, sila, bhavana. These are the things that will benefit the mind, that will protect the mind, that will save the mind from suffering. So this is what we should concentrate our effort on once we have taken care of the need of the body. Then we should not spend our effort on other things like more money, more status, and more things, more products. It's useless. It's not helpful to the mind. It hurts the mind because it makes the mind become addicted. But if you spend on your effort on the development of dana, sila, bhavana, you are freeing the mind. You are making the mind free from all dependence. The mind don't have to rely on anything if the mind has dana, sila, and bhavana, because the mind will have inner peace, inner happiness, and this will makes the mind doesn't have to rely on the body or on the material things that are being produced in this world. And if you can develop to the full extent of dana, sila, bhavana, you will arrive at nibbana, where you will not have to be born again, where you don't need to have a body to make you happy. Right now you need a body to make you happy. You need a body to take you to go to different places, to see, to hear. But once you have developed the mind to the level where it no longer needs to have the body to create happiness for it, then it doesn't need to have the body. So once this body dies, it will no longer take up a new body. That we call nibbana. The mind is totally free, independent, doesn't have to rely on anything to make it happy, because it has its own happiness developed by the practice of dana, sila, and bhavana. So this is basically what we Buddhists should aim for, the practice of dana, sila, and bhavana, not the acquiring of wealth and status and happiness through material things, because they are brief happiness, temporary happiness, and can turn into sadness when they disappear. Okay, this is just a brief summary. You have anything else you want to ask or add?
I do have one question. In this modern life, what I'm seeing is like monkhood that have a few categories. What I'm seeing until today, they have city monk, traveler monk, forest monk, different kind. So
this is the result of their education. Monks sometimes can be misled by their own teachers. So when you become a monk, sometimes you don't know what is the purpose of being a monk. People look at monkhood through different lenses. Some people think to be monk and and to perform rituals, chanting, being invited to people's home to bless them, to chant for them. So people became monks through different source of knowledge. So if you want to be the monk according to what the Buddha wanted you to be, then you have to study from the Buddha. See? You have to go directly to his scripture, his sutta, his discourses. Then you'll know what kind of monk you have to be. See, the Buddha teaches monks to practice sila, samadhi, and panya. And the only way to develop sila, samadhi, and panya is to go live in the forest, not in the city. See. But many monks, many people, when they study Buddhism, they don't get this point. See, they just get that to be monk is to study the scripture and then perform rituals and build monastery, build more. They thought this is the way to advance the religion, but that's not the way that the Buddha taught or did. The way the Buddha did was to go into the forest and develop the mind with the practice of sila, samadhi, and panya until he became enlightened. Then he taught people about what he had learned from his enlightenment. And those people who believe what he said, follow his teaching, could become enlightened eventually. And then they help the Buddha spread the teaching to other people. This is how Buddhism came about, through the practice of sila, samadhi, and panya. After having attained enlightenment, then you spread the knowledge to other people. So building monastery is not the goal in Buddhism. The goal in Buddhism is to attain enlightenment, to be rid of suffering, to be rid of the ceaseless rounds of rebirth. And as far as the monastery, that depends on the goodwill of the lay people. Lay people, they find that they cannot practice like monks do. So all they could do is to give dana. So they build monastery to let the monks have a place to stay. But monks really don't need them. But if it's built, it can be used properly. It can also, the monk can use them. They don't mind, but it's not the real important thing. The real important thing for them is to have a place to practice sila, samadhi, and panya. So with forest monks, they don't spend too much time on building things. They build some structure, some building that is necessary, but they don't have to be of expensive quality, or just something that is practical, applicable for their need, because they don't want to spend too much time on building material things. They want to spend time building the Dhamma inside the mind, because it's the Dhamma that they will need to become enlightened. So this is the differences between city monk and forest monk. City monks, it has become a tradition that once if you're a male and 20-year-old, you should become a monk for a certain period of time to show your gratitude toward your parents. Because if you become a monk, then your parents will have to go to see you at the temple. Then they will learn the Dhamma when they go to the temple. See? But if you don't become a monk, then they don't have time to go to the temple because they are so busy working, making money. So they hardly have time to go to the temple to learn the Dhamma teaching. But once the son becomes a monk, then they have to go visit the son. And then they will have to listen to Dhamma talk when they go to the temple. Then they start to learn about the teaching of the Buddha. And then they can then apply it in their life and will benefit from the practice. So this is basically what city monks do. They become monk for usually used to be 3 months period, but nowadays with the advancement of the material world, they don't have time even for 3 months. Now it's down to 2 weeks, 15 days, sometimes 7 days, because that's all they can ask for leave from the company that they work for. See? So they don't really become monks for the sake of enlightenment. They become monks as the way to pay their gratitude to their parents. And other monks who see that being monks is an occupation, because sometimes they don't know what to do, they cannot find job. So they say maybe become monk is a good way to make a living. So they became monk, and all they have to do is learn to chant. See? Once they learn to chant, then they can accept invitation. Yes. Or when lay people come to the temple and give dana, then yes. They can give their anumodana, yes. And then they get all the gifts, yes. And the money. Yes. So that's all they do. Yeah.
And so, travel a lot.
Right, because once they have money, their defilement come up. Yeah. Because staying in a temple, you can get feeling, close in. So you want to get out. Yes. So you use excuse, I'm going out to teach Dhamma. Yeah. But they don't really teach Dhamma. They just go sightseeing, take pictures.
Yes. And, yes. This is what I see, what I involve with certain monk. Yeah. So I'm.
So you're wondering.
Yes, this is why I come here. There's a lot outside.
Usually for a teacher, they don't go places. Go, right? They let you go to see them. If they go, they just go directly for teaching only. To give Dhamma talk. Now clear my mind. Okay. So there are people who study the scripture first and know the purpose of ordination. Then they ordain. Once they ordain, they usually go to live in forest monastery because they want to develop mind. They want to meditate. But those who didn't study the scripture but look at the picture, the monastic, the picture of monks in the city temples, making money, easy money, and so if they don't know they can get a job, then decide maybe I should become a monk, use it as a job instead. So they become monk and then earn money, and then spend money buying things. You see them buy cameras, buy phone, buy iPhone, buy everything. Yeah.
It's like layman.
Sometimes even have their own automobile.
Yes.
I think there used to be one famous monk have his private jet.
Oh, is it?
He didn't buy it. Maybe he leased it. I think I heard.
Private jet.
Because he has to travel to different countries to give Dhamma talk.
Okay. So at once. Very rich.
Yeah. But people, Buddhist faithful, they don't want to think negatively. They think, oh, he's a great monk. He has a lot of aura and people respect him. He must be enlightened. So whatever he does is always good. So sometimes it's hard to judge a good monk from a bad monk. If you don't have the basic knowledge of what a good monk should be, then you would not know. You have to study the life of the Buddha and his noble disciples and compare them to the life of the monks. Then you will be able to see whether they are good monk or not good monk, a real monk or not real monk. Okay, that answers your question?
Yes.
All right. And I'll have the rest of the time for the Thai to ask questions.
Thank you.
ทางบ้านมีใครเข้ามามีต่างชาติเข้ามา
มีค่ะ
ใคร
มีคุณโอลิเวียค่ะ แล้วก็สตีเฟนแอนด์
ชาลาน Hello all of you, Olivia from France, Stephen from England, Chalan from Sri Lanka. Anybody has any question?
question from Olivia
Bonjour, Olivia.
Bonjour ท่านอาจารย์ Can you explain the four jhanas วิทักกะ วิคาระ ปิติ สุขา เอกคตา and how to develop each one of them in meditation? Thank you.
Well, to develop them is to concentrate on one object, like your breath. Just keep focusing on your breath. Watch your breath going in and coming out. And then you will start to have vitakka, vichara. And this feeling, this feeling, different feeling will arise in your mind as you progress. So this is not something I can explain to you. It's something that you have to experience it. So you have to try to sit and meditate and watch your breath, or use a mantra, Bhutto, 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 and then this quality will arise in your mind. Vitakka, vichara. Vitakka means I cannot translate into English. In Thai we call to know something is vitakka. To know your breath is vitakka. Vichara is to know the changing of your breath. So if you keep focusing your attention on your breath, you are developing vitakka, vichara. And once you have vitakka, vichara, your mind will become calm, and you have piti, rapture, joy, and sukha, happiness arise. So this is basically, when you first started, if you can concentrate on your breath, you're already entering the first jhana. If you keep just focusing on your breath, knowing your breath, watching your breath, this is vitakka, vichara. Watching is vitakka. Knowing your breath is vichara. Just not going to think about other things. Just think about the breath. It's vitakka, vichara. Once you keep doing this, then piti will arise. Joy or rapture will arise, and happiness will arise. And if you keep concentrating more, then this thing will disappear. And eventually you'll have just ubekha. That's the fourth jhana. The more the mind becomes calm, all this quality will gradually disappear from the mind. And then the mind will eventually become empty. All it has is knowing and ubekha and happiness that arises from the mind from being calm, having no vitakka, vichara. The mind stops thinking about the breath. The breath disappears from the consciousness, from the mind. and you have entered into the fourth jhana, which is the Appana Samadhi. Okay, this is about all that I can explain. You have to read, maybe read in the scripture, and read the commentary from the scripture.
Question from Stephen Morris. Good afternoon, Ajahn. I feel sometimes that it is not beneficial for me to meditate, and my time is very limited due to my lifestyle as a lay person who has to work and look after his family. Could you please advise how I could make the short periods of time I have for meditation more beneficial for my practice? Sadhu.
Well, your meditation can be beneficial depends on your mindfulness. If you have strong mindfulness, you can sit for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and your mind can become totally calm. If you have strong mindfulness. But if you don't have good mindfulness, so strong mindfulness, you can sit for a long time and you're not achieving any result. So you should first try to develop as much mindfulness as possible, in which you can do it while you are working, while you're doing things. You can develop mindfulness. Mindfulness is to be aware of what you do. Don't let your mind think about other things when you're doing something. When you're doing something, just focus on what you do. If you are eating, just focus on your eating. Pay attention to your eating. Don't think about your wife, your children, or your money. Just think about what you are doing at the moment. This is developing mindfulness. If you can bring the mind to focus on what you do all the time, then when you sit in meditation, your mind can become calm very quickly. You can achieve result very quickly. And then you will have made good use of your limited time. Because as soon as your mind becomes calm, you experience bliss and rapture and happiness, peace of mind. And it will strengthen your mental strength, making your mind strong and capable of resisting your defilements. So I strongly recommending everybody to develop mindfulness all the time, from the time they get up to the time they go to sleep. You can develop mindfulness by focusing on what you do, by bringing your mind into the present. Don't let it go into the past or into the future. Don't let it go think about other things except for what it is doing at the moment. Then you will have good and strong mindfulness. When you sit and you focus on your breath, it will not go away. It will stay fixed with the breath. And if it stays fixed with the breath, then the mind can become calm very quickly. Okay, next question.
Question from Churan. Ajahn, why is that now Dhamma doesn't give any happiness like part to me? Is it because now my needs are different activity and any other thing?
Well, once you have it, you have received the result from your dana, it becomes ordinary, not exciting like the first time. If you want it to give you more impact, you just have to increase the amount you spend on dana. If you spend $10, try to spend $100, and I will guarantee that you will feel different from spending $10. So you have to increase the amount of dana if you want to increase the impact on your mind. Because if you spend the same amount, you're used to it. See? So in order to get more impact, then you have to spend more until you can no longer spend any money. Then you have to have a different method to have impact on your mind. And the next step is to go meditation. and keeping the 8 precepts. Then you will have, once your mind becomes calm, then it will have a stronger impact than what you get from dana. So once you have fully developed your dana, then you have to go up the next level, that's to bhavana and sila. You have to keep the 8 precepts and meditate. You have to seek seclusion, be alone, and develop mindfulness all the time. And then when you sit, your mind will become calm and happy. And it will be much happier than what you get from giving dana. Okay?
Question from Stephen Morris again.
Go ahead.
Ajahn, please could you tell me what method you used when you first start meditating? Did you use a mantra or did you use the breath?
At first I used mindfulness first. Mindfulness of my action from the time I get up. I keep concentrating on what I do. Don't let my mind go elsewhere. Just keep tying it to the body. And when I have time to sit and meditate, then I use the breath. But when I meet the painful feeling, then I switch to a mantra. Recite a mantra can keep the mind calmer than watching the breath. Sometimes I recite until the pain disappears and the mind enter into samadhi. Okay.
I understand as individual we all have to find our own way to calm our mind, but maybe it would give me some inspiration if I try to follow your way, Sadhu.
Okay, try it. But basically it's the same. The method might be different, but the Dhamma is the same, mindfulness. Everybody has to have mindfulness. Mindfulness can be developed in different ways. You can use a mantra, you can chant Buddha all day long, or you can watch your body, or you can chant Dhammo, Sangho, or you can think of death all the time. Just think that I'm gonna die, Then you will have mindfulness. So you can look at the 40 subject of meditation called the 40 Kammatthana. You can use any one of them to use to develop mindfulness. หมดแล้วเลยเอาอีก 2-3 ข้อเอา
คือ Stephen reply มาว่า thank you very much that has helped me a lot, Sadhu.
You're welcome.